This is Talk is Sheep, a podcast by the Wild Sheep Society of British Columbia. Come along as we take conversations that matter to you into the high alpine.
Well, good morning, Mr. Hamilton from balmy Prince George, British Columbia. What is it this morning?
Oh God, it was freaking cold. Like, we don't have in days for the schools. When we were growing up, we never had them. But if it's below minus 20, the kids have to stay inside. And right now it's showing minus 28. So the kids are inside. That's freaking cold, but it's beautiful outside. I'll say it's a dry cold, right? It's different than what you guys deal with down there. The minus 2 that just shuts down the city I saw the other day with the snow.
Well, yeah, in theory, but in Victoria, we haven't had anything. We've got nothing. It's cleared a million. It's Vancouver that's the train wreck. So,
oh yeah, I remember living down there. It's crazy. A little bit of snow and happens every year, and it just turns the city inside out. A buddy of mine messaged me the other day. He left his dad's place in East Vancouver and drove to his place in Delta. Should take 25 minutes on the high end on a good day. Took him 4 hours. And he said the bridges were shut down and they're playing slalom, and yeah, just a nightmare. So snow tires are your friend. Absolutely.
This is a dog-friendly podcast, for the record. Yeah. So, episode 103 with our good friend Lee Harrison from Seek Outside. Great podcast, great company, mom and pop shop, really. Kind of a vision for needing something better for the backcountry in Colorado. And they have done a fantastic job of building that company and staying true to their roots. One thing you'll notice about our podcast is we bring people on that have a conservation ethic, and Seek Outside is no exception. Do tons of support across the landscape, and it was great to catch up with Lee Harrison and just get a good feel of what's happening over at Seek Outside.
Oh, totally. I got the pleasure of trying some of their stuff last year, Fly and Hunt with Greg. Just a beautiful tent, super easy to set up, and although it's light, it bucked the wind and the snow and the rain and kept the heat in, and it was awesome. Highly recommended stuff.
Okay, so before we jump into the podcast, a couple things we want to talk about. Let's talk about our show. So we've got a huge lineup for our fundraisers in 2023. We've got our Northern fundraiser February 3rd and 4th in the north of BC in Dawson Creek. And for those that don't know, this year we've added a Friday night fun night. It's going to be great. Frontiersman Gear is underwriting that. They're sponsoring it. We're going to do backpack races. We got a ton of giveaways. Tanner and the team are putting on a great event, and we're super stoked about this. So going to have some drinks, going to have some appies, and we're just going to have a great time celebrating wild sheep and conservation. So we still have tickets available for that. The Northern is effectively sold out. Our Saturday night main show, we basically sold 95% of the tickets in the first couple days. We have a handful of tickets left, so if you're really excited about it, get those tickets. They're not going to be around much longer. But the Friday night, we got some tickets left for that. Kamloops is now on sale, our Kamloops convention and annual general meeting. That's March 10th and 11th. You guessed it, Kamloops, BC. Don't want to give that one away. And we got a great lineup this year. We got a great keynote. Tom Foss is going to come and talk about his international hunting experiences. Tom's a leader when it comes to conservation. He just does so much on the landscape to support wild sheep. So it's going to be great to hear from Tom. We got a ton of seminars through our Sheep Hunting University. Life Member Breakfast is bigger and better than ever, underwritten by our good friends over at Yeti. The Stone Glacier backpack races. We've got horn aging. We've got guess the pack weight. The list goes on and on and on. And man, it's going to be a blast, Steve. I can't wait for Kamloops.
Oh, no doubt. This I made it down there for 2020 before we had to cancel it on the spot before we really rolled it out. So this will be my first time being able to attend. So pretty stoked for it. Be good times.
Absolutely. So come join us in Kamloops. Tickets are on sale on the website for all this stuff. Get over to wildsheepsociety.com. click on the events button. You can pick the Northern Fundraiser, Kamloops Convention, and AGM, and come join us for a great week of celebrating wild sheep, or great 2 events. Of course, we got our Jurassic in August, and this year we're adding a new fundraiser. So we're not going to announce it yet, but we got something really new, really cool that we're going to share with you, and that's a June event we're planning. So more on that to come, but come and join us in the North and Kamloops. It's going to be awesome. So,
is that the one where we break out the pole, and because it's in June, you're wearing very minimal clothing, or have I already said too much?
Yeah, that would be a negative sales technique for this podcast for sure. That would really end the sales quickly. So yeah, but so with that, let's head over to episode 103 with our good friend Lee Harrison from Seek Outside.
Across Canada and throughout the world, if you come across a campfire in the woods, on a mountaintop, or next to a river, you'll find warm company and friendly people gathered around. Regardless of your lifestyle or place you call home, we invite you to learn more about what it means to be a hunter in the modern era. If you love the outdoors, care about where your food comes from, and are concerned for the future of wildlife and the environments that they need to survive, pull up a seat. We have a story to tell. Welcome to our campfire.
All right, take 2. Awesome. Lee, welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, glad to be here. Like I said, glad that Greg reached out, and to reiterate, I'm ready to go down whatever rabbit hole you guys are wanting to. So I'm game for it all.
Awesome, man. So let's just start a little bit about I guess you, and I want to jump into all the Seek Outside stuff, but where do you come from? I know you grew up in Rifle, so that got you started down the right path when it comes to the outdoors and hunting, I guess. So
yeah. So I grew up in Rifle, Colorado, which was a fantastic place to grow up when talking about hunting and fishing and outdoor things. Oddly enough, I guess not oddly enough, but just like a little hidden gem that it's out here in Rifle is like we have a huge world-class climbing destination in what's called Little Box Canyon. And just climbers from all over the world come here to climb. So not even in hunting the fishing space, but just like outdoor space in general. Skiing, we got Aspen Snowmass is like an hour and a half away. Then we got Powderhorn and Sunlight, 2 great little mountains to grow up snowboarding and skiing on. So I was just like thrown into what I think is the mecca of just outdoor recreation. And it was fantastic to grow up in.
Oh, I can imagine just looking at it quick on Google. I had no idea where it was. It's next to Antlers. Like, does that not set you up for hunting or what?
So it's funny because I actually, that's where my parents live still, and that's where I grew up, is technically Antlers. But it's a Rifle zip code or whatever. So on the post it just says Rifle, but we technically live in Antlers. And it's just like you got Rifle and Antlers. What do we got? We got all sorts of stuff.
All you need is general open season county or something, right? That'd be awesome.
Yeah, exactly. Open season, general season county, all that stuff. Yeah. But yeah, it was just fantastic to grow up here. And, my dad was a sportsman, angler, all the good things, and he got me into it. So I'm super appreciative for that because, I was playing sports and stuff too, but it's just like that obviously ends at some point, and I'm so glad that I just had this activity to just go back into with hunting, fishing, and just all of those things that just jumped right back into it. Because I was really big into sports there in my high school career, so it was like I took a little break, a couple year break from hunting in September because it was like football season. But it was great to just jump right back into it like I never left, because it's like you never left because you just are around it all the time. And then, of course, you got like the fishing in the summer and stuff. There's just everything to do out here, and I just can't get enough of it.
So you mentioned climbing, and there's all this other stuff to do too, and there's all this competitive competition with hunting and fishing and all these other outdoor pursuits. non-consumptive stuff. Is that something that you did a lot of as well, or was it kind of, your focus hunting and fishing, or was there all this other things too?
So yeah, my big focus growing up was hunting and fishing, but I did join the climbing club because all my friends were doing it. We had a climbing gym in our high school, which makes it sound like a big high school. It's not. I think that someone was just like super into climbing, had some money to donate, and so we got a climbing gym, and that kind of got me into climbing, and which I don't do at all now. Like I said, is like I just jumped right back into hunting and fishing because that's what I knew, and that's what I truly loved and still love. But I did some climbing for a little bit, tried my hand at that. Wasn't bad, wasn't great. I would never trust me to keep you alive on a climbing wall. I'll just blatantly say it. Don't put me at the bottom to keep you alive. Just give me a gun, bow, and fly rod, and we're good. But I think I'll stay out of the climbing scene for a little bit longer.
It sounds like
in my early 20s, I had a roommate that was totally into the outdoor climbing. So he's like, yeah, you need to get little rosin bag and the shoes that are like 3 sizes too small. Squish them on. And then and then we went out twice total. The first time we went out is just north of Vancouver to a place called the Smoke Bluffs, which is roughly where Joe lives, Kyle, like right across from him. And just tiny little, they 50, 60, 70 feet. And you're climbing the crack type thing, right? And going up, and there's probably 10 of us across. There's me and my old roommate there, and there's 4 or 5 groups down, and one guy next to us, it was his first or second time. He's halfway up, and you hear him scream, and then the pop, and his shoulder came out as he dropped down on belay or whatever they call it, and popped his shoulder out. I'm like, yeah, you know what? No, this does not seem fun. So went a second time and couldn't sell my stuff on Kijiji or Craigslist, whatever it was back then, quick enough. Yeah, so I agree with you. Give me a rifle.
Yeah.
Give me a rifle.
Yeah, that's how I felt. I was like, man, I'm just not, not that good at it enough to be like, and I know I was, didn't really give it a fair college try, but I was like, you know what? I'll just stick to hunting and fishing and a little bit of snowboarding in the winter and call it good. I'll keep it at those few activities, and that way I can just focus on some stuff, get good at those things, and not have to worry about killing myself on some crazy rock wall.
Exactly.
Yeah, right on.
Yep.
So with now with your day job, so you went off to university, went to college and got a degree in marketing, and ended up at Seek Outside. So was that something where I want to work in the outdoor space, or was that just the way it worked out, or was it always a goal for you?
Yeah, so that became a goal of mine when I was a freshman in college, to work in the outdoor space. And at first in high school, I took some marketing classes, and then I figured out, okay, I want to do marketing for sure. That's a lot of fun. But then I was like, I'm going to go work for Red Bull because they have offices in Denver. And then I spent more time in Denver. I starting, to try to figure out what I want to do. And then I was like, oh, no, never mind. I don't want to live here. This place is awful. There's too many people. There's too much traffic, and I can't be in the mountains in 15 minutes. So that idea is out. What's the next best thing? And now I think it's the better thing, the better option. But I was like, I should go to work in the hunting space, in the hunting and fishing space. That would probably be a lot of fun. And after that, I just kept looking for jobs. Obviously, Seek was in the same town that I was going to college in. So I graduated with a job that I just got an internship at, doing real estate marketing, and was like, I don't like this. So I'm going to, sorry, I'm getting a call. I don't like this, doing this real estate marketing thing. So I'm just going to start really doubling down, applying for jobs. Sent Seek Outside an email, and Angie, one of the co-owners, got back to me super quick. Was like, yeah, actually, we're looking for someone just like you. Come on in and we'll do an interview," which it was not an interview. It was a conversation, really. And I sat down and talked with Angie, and she offered me the job right there. That was back in 2017. Now I've gone on to do some other things besides Seek Outside. And then I've actually in the last year and a half, have come back to Seek Outside. And, it's kind of been a roller coaster of a career of mine. But man, it's been fun because I went on to work up in Bozeman, Montana for a creative agency, doing work for some really cool brands like Yeti Coolers and Kuyu and stuff like that. And just had a ton of fun doing it. And man, I just feel so blessed, dude, to be in this role in this industry, because it's just a big family, really. Like I meet guys at events, like not even from other companies, just like guys at events, and we become friends on Instagram, or we see each other at other events. We see each other at a 3D shoot, and you keep in touch, and it's just so awesome to work in this industry.
So, you talked about kind of aspiring to be in the industry when you came out of school. Did you have any role models or any mentors or anyone? Did you look at the Sloan Browns or the Ben O'Briens of the world, go, I want to be that guy, or how does that work for you?
Yeah. It's funny that you bring that up, because Ben, I connected with him on LinkedIn. He probably doesn't even know this, but like way before he left Yeti, which he was like, in my opinion, like Ben O'Brien, Sloan Brown are like the godfathers of community marketing. And if you're not familiar with that, you should probably go and this career, this industry is something you want to do. You should go look into that role, community marketing manager roles. They're pretty popular and they're a lot of fun. I mean, if you're a young guy or gal out of college, like that stuff is too much fun. It should not be a position because it's so much fun. But
That's awesome.
Ben O'Brien, Sloan Brown, and then also Aaron Hitchens at Rock House Motion. Literally the film Beyond the Roar. And it's funny because I have it saved on my bookmark here on my laptop. I do it on every laptop because for me, it was like my creative awakening, right? I was used to growing up watching Sportsman Channel, Pursuit Channel. I'm sure you guys have those in Canada. I maybe am a little dumb for not knowing, but
Yeah, we do.
It's typical hunting TV, and back in the day, it was what it was, and it wasn't great. I think we can all admit that it wasn't always great. It was what it was, and you watched it because it's what you had. And then I watched Beyond the Roar by Rock House and was just completely blown away by what I saw. And that's what really inspired me to get into the marketing and creative space in the industry. So, that's, those were kind of my role models. Adam Foss, Stephen Drake, which it was a pleasure to just go through the same doors as them in Bozeman, through the same creative agency. It was like literally, felt like I was on hallowed ground, right? Because they were big role models of mine. Adam Foss, Steve Drake, still are. It's just been kind of like chasing their dream ever since my freshman year of college. So
That's really cool, Lee. So let's talk a little bit about that. You talked about, the early days and how, I guess, how hunting TV's changed. Obviously the marketing space and, in how they, the outdoor industry sells their products has changed significantly. And there's some clear leaders out there. Let's talk about the evolution that you've seen. And you've been in it for a while now. You've been working in the industry for 5 years, but before that you were going to school and you've kind of seen this evolution, and you knew you were an end user in the early days, and now you're on the pointy end of things creating this stuff. So talk about that evolution and what you've seen, and what do you see? Where does it go from here?
Yeah, I mean, the evolution, it's like smartphones, right? They've just exploded with the new tech, new features, biometric scanners, right, for your thumbs, and then it was like all of a sudden we had face scanners, and it was like, whoa, this is like, I feel like we're just zooming through into the future, right? Like it's just like we skipped a whole bunch of steps. Like we should be back at the biometric scanner still. But same thing with the hunting industry in terms of marketing and creative. It's all of a sudden just exploded, and I think that was just out of necessity. People were sick and tired of the same old thing. Thanks to so and so outfitters for having us out here, blah blah blah. Which, again, I'm not trying to like throw shade or whatever, but there was clearly a need for the opposite of that, right? I think that people were just ready to start seeing some stuff that they could really attach themselves to, and that really like spoke to them, that matched the adventurous kind of hunting and fishing that they were used to doing, especially out here in like the Western United States and up there in the Western Canada, British Columbia, this, all those places, the Yukon, where it was just like super aspirational type trips. People were just like hungry to take in the stuff that they found relevant to them. And so it was all created out of necessity, but it's just exploded with those these kind of stories across the landscape. And I think that's like where we're at right now, is like this big kind of like storytelling marketing revolution, similar to the online revolution and the workspace and all that stuff, and now like the work from home revolution, I'm calling it, right? We're like in this like storytelling marketing revolution, trying to have some like really, really relevant experiences for our consumers that mostly lives online, but also in events. Now we've got things like Sheep Show and all these different banquets. You got Western Hunt Expo, you got Total Archery Challenges, all those different things. I think Mountain Challenge or something like that. It's another 3D archery shoot for like kind of like those fitness nuts out there. We just want to have a more relevant space for these kind of like highly aspirational folks now, and I think where it's going is continuing to go in that way. But I think we're starting to dial it back a little bit now in terms of like more conversational stuff, not only in marketing materials, but just in the way we sell products. You're starting to see like drops come into play here in the marketing space or in the hunting space now. Whereas like that's super conversational. Whereas like, hey guys, we're going to have this live for you to purchase things tomorrow or tonight, or, and it's only going to be available in limited quantities. Get it while you can. And they send out a text message or an email or a social post or all three, one, the product's got to be there, but I think that people are really liking that. It seems to be popular.
Definitely been a change last couple of years in the way things are done on social with just everything in general. The drops are a really, really popular one right now, and I totally see it.
Yeah, and I think it's just keeping stuff more conversational, more of like it seems like more of a direct line from brand to consumer, in that style of selling direct to consumer. It's just very conversational, I feel.
Yeah, just you brought it up. Are you guys? Do you guys hit all the shows? Are you at Sheep Week and Western Hunter and all that stuff? Or
we typically haven't, and that's just because we've been so short staffed in the past, and it's hard to get away for like, I don't know, like the show circuit seems like it's like 100 days long, I feel like now, but it was hard. So then we really had to be choosy about where we went, and that's kind of hard because then you got a guy in Washington being like, well, I can't make it down to Salt Lake, but I want to see your products too. And it's like, well, then you kind of feel like you're not serving the customer as well as you should. But this year we're going to be at a lot more shows in 2023. We're doing shows in the non-consumptive space as well, so that'll be fun, and you could come check out products there too. Those are a lot of fun, like Overland Expo. Those shows are just as fun as a hunting convention as well. Can't win any hunts there, but you might be able to win a truck or something. I'm not too sure, but yeah. So we're doing some more shows, trying to get it in front of people more, because we understand that it's hard to purchase something like a tent or a backpack before you're able to touch and feel it, right? See how it works, see how big the space is actually, when you're inside. So yeah, we've definitely heard people loud and clear. We're trying to add a lot more stops on the tour.
Right on. So before we go, there's a bunch of stuff I want to talk to you about on that. But before we go there, tell us about Seek Outside, the origins and evolution, where it comes from, and kind of the company ethos.
Yeah, so we started in 2010. Kevin and Angie Tim were living in Texas. Kevin was like a software security engineer for Cisco. And Kevin, if I mess up any part of your story, I think I've heard it enough now that like I understand it. But if I mess it up, I'm sorry. Don't fire me, please. So it started in 2010, just out of kind of like, I use the word necessity again, but they wanted some products that they could use in the outdoors. They were traveling from Texas to Colorado a lot just to go recreate, hike, fish. And then Kevin was getting into hunting as well. And he was like, man, I need something that I can do like all these things with, take it into the shoulder seasons, take it into, November during third season rifle here in Colorado, because you can get an over-the-counter tag and it's very accessible. And so Angie just was like, okay, well then I have this like, I think it was a Singer, a Singer, oh my gosh.
Sewing machine?
Sewing machine. Yeah, there you go. It's late, okay?
I'm with you, buddy. I'm with you.
Yeah, and so they bought some fabric and started sewing some stuff up and, decided, hey, we want to move out of Texas. Kevin was like, I want to quit my job. It's becoming a little too corporate for me. And kind of the rest is history. Like I said, it started in 2010 and here we are now. And touching on that corporate thing, Kevin's always been like, I don't want it to ever get as corporate as it was at Cisco or even close for that matter, and so we've kept things pretty mom and pop, and we're still a private company. We're not public. We're not owned by anyone except for the Tims, Angie and Kevin, and I think for as far as I know, we're going to keep it that way for a while. And continue to do our thing, and it might not always be as flashy or honestly as dialed as some of these other big corporations with a lot of money behind them, but it's our way, and we really love doing what we do. So that's kind of the ethos right there. There's some other things that go along with that, like we want to protect wild places, the things that inhabit them, and these activities, because without them, well, quite frankly, we don't have jobs. And so we're in deep with BHA, Wild Sheep Foundation, you guys, like it's huge for us, because without these organizations, it's like we don't even have a customer base, and without them, we don't have revenue and we don't have jobs, at least not fun ones. So, I mean, in terms of the ethos, that it's simple, but that's what it is.
So that's the one thing that I love about the brand Seek Outside. You guys are really, and you you talked about it on your website about how conservation's important, supporting public lands, supporting like you said, the landscapes that these animals inhabit. And you guys have won awards for this too, right? There was an Alaria Foster Award that you guys were awarded for the work that you've done. So that's huge to not only, it's one thing to say, yeah, we support public lands, yeah, we support wildlife, but to be actually receiving awards for it says a lot about the company, right?
Yeah, and we were awarded that a while ago, and honestly, we try to live in this space of no lifetime achievement awards, and we keep trying to push the envelope. This year we had more boots on the ground days than we've probably ever had in the history. That helps when we have more employees who are super passionate about it as well. It's kind of hard when it's just 5 people to get a lot of boots on the ground days, to go remove fences, to plant trees, to go clean up riverways and stuff like that. But we've done a lot more of it this year, and we're going to continue to start putting in more and more elbow grease as much as we possibly can, because we were just okay, great, we've donated some money. We donate, gear to be given to veterans for, these hunts that are going on. Awesome. That's great. But what else? What else are we not doing? And we were you know what? We just need to buck up and spend more days in the field, removing fence, digging post holes, pouring concrete for guzzlers or whatever. That needs to be us. And, we're going to continue to try to put more days in the field for conservation, for wildlife, all those good things.
So does that come under your purview then, Lee? Are you in charge of, I know quite often community marketing managers are, but I think your title is marketing, I guess. So is that your job, or is there someone else that's kind of? Yeah.
So it's my job, and that's, I was we need to be spending more days in the field. Just, we after COVID, it was we weren't able to do that as much, but it's that's not an excuse anymore, and we need to step up and start being who we say we are again. Not that we never were, but it was let's do it. And we've spent a lot of days in the field this year, doing boots on the ground work, and had a lot of our employees out. Even some people who don't really hunt or really fish, but maybe they go backpacking or they're a climber. They were out in droves planting trees, and it was if we counted up all the hours as an individual, I think there was 56 hours spent in one day between Seek Outside employees or something like that, throughout an 8-hour day. So it was fantastic to see the turnout for those employees who aren't necessarily in the scene, because they're a seam sealer or something. They're going to college, and this is their part-time job. They show up too, and we're really proud of them because it helps us keep our word.
That's awesome. So this ethos around conservation, giving back, does that come from Angie? Where does that come from? Is that just, a company philosophy, or is it driven from the top down?
It's driven from the top down. Kevin just had a fundraiser for, I'm going to forget what it was, but the Gila Wilderness. He just had a fundraiser for some of the trail systems there in the Gila, for his birthday. That's what he did for his little birthday thing, is someone could donate $5 or whatever to his little birthday fundraiser. And, the money goes back. I think it's to the CDT Coalition, is who it goes to eventually, to help keep those trails open through hikers and stuff. So it really does come from the top down, and they kind of lead the charge on that front and lead by example. And that's why I was you know what, as employees, as a forward facing brand, we need to be doing this, just as much as Kevin and Angie are. So that's really where it comes from.
Right on. So let's talk a little bit about products, and I guess I want to talk about innovation too. But
do it.
let's start with products. Like, obviously, when you think Seek Outside, you're thinking, lightweight. You're thinking, tents. You're thinking backpacks a little bit. But is that kind of the bread and butter of what you guys do, or is there a best seller that stands out? Let's talk about product a bit.
Yeah. So, when someone asks me like, hey, what do you do, or who is Seek Outside? I say that, we're a manufacturer of lightweight backcountry equipment. That's pretty encompassing, but we make ground tents, titanium wood burning stoves, so metal wood burning stoves, and backpacks. That's like really our big three categories. We resell some things from some folks that we admire in the space, like Western Mountaineering or whatever. But those three categories are really our mainstays. Now our bread and butter are like the hot tent combos, right? So it's those tents that we have made specifically to use those wood burning stoves in, that can take you well into the winter and even all the way through next spring, depending on the size of tent and the size of stove you have. So that's really our bread and butter. That's what people know us for. But we also make some really great backpacks that we're really proud of. Like I said, we do things differently on purpose. We don't make our packs look like everyone else's or function like everyone else's, because we took some old packs that we had, put our brains together and said, how do we make this better? How do we use different materials? So we're just as proud of that backpack line, as we are of our hot tent line. And, I use all the products, and I honestly wouldn't use it if it just outright sucked. Actually, I probably wouldn't let it hit the market. I would fight it every step of the way. So yeah, super proud of all three of our mainstay lines. But yeah, everyone knows about those hot tents and loves them.
Right
Yep,
on.
I can vouch for that. Greg's got I want to say a 12-man, and we used it for the fly-in last September, like a year ago, and It's got the stove and the roll-up chimney pipe. And there was four of us in there with all our gear, ample room to move around, and we put the liner in after the first night because we woke up the next morning and like, what the hell is dripping on our head? Didn't take into consideration the condensation. So we put that up, and what a game changer. That thing, it was unreal, the wind, because we were kind of at the base of a mountain off a lake, and the wind was whipping in, and we were like, oh my God, this is going to blow away. Didn't even falter. It was unreal. Like super happy with my limited experience on it.
I think that's awesome to like hear. I mean, it is awesome to hear those real world experiences, because just to be quite frank, and this is at no fault of your own, you guys did everything wrong. You guys camped near water. That's like really bad for condensation. You guys camped out in the open, really bad for wind. But it's like, if our products can't withstand some, some errors here and there, whether you're setting up in a creek bottom where it's really wet and just moist in general, the air down there is just damp. If we can't make products that can, line our single wall tents to block that condensation, or if we can't make products that stand up in the wind for a piece of camping equipment, like, then we shouldn't be making them. And I think that's awesome to hear those stories where it's like, we did everything wrong. We camped near water. We camped in a really exposed, area for the wind, but it still did great. And I mean, I love to hear those stories, because it's just like, yes, another one,
Yeah, we were definitely limited where we could put it. Kyle's been to that lake,
Totally.
and we put it in the best spot we could, and we still gave it a hell of a workout, and it performed well.
Yeah, and that's just it. Like, you're in the mountains, you're hunting, you're fishing. Things aren't always perfect. We're not in a park. We're not in a controlled campground. Like, we got to work with what we got, and so we got to make products to work with the elements. And so, yeah, stoked to hear that. And I'm glad that you guys had a good time.
Yeah, and just like any other product, right? There's no perfect product in every environment, right? There's the perfect product in a certain environment, but you take it and put it in a different environment, and that's what you need is something incredibly flexible, right? And so if you can do that, you can withstand the wind, the rain, the snow, but it doesn't matter what you do, you're always going to have conflict.
Yep. Real fast, since we're on that flexibility part, I don't know if you guys know this, but with that 12 person, if you're ever like, man, we cannot find a space big enough. It's just not a space big enough. No way. We're going to have to hike over to the next ridge or whatever to try to find a spot. The guy out points on that 12 person can actually be stake loops. And so we call it flex pitch, and you can take it from a 12 person to a 6 person footprint. And now you have a really big sod skirt, or, sod drape, whatever. Some people have different names for it, but then you can fit it in the spot. You don't have to hike all over God's creation to find a spot to put it up. Just a little hot tip.
That's good to know. Greg, listen to that. Write that down.
And honestly, in the mountains, that's incredibly important, right? I've had, tents with a huge footprint, and you just can't, there's nowhere to set them up, right? And it's great. It's comfortable.
Yeah.
You maybe have some shelter from the elements for your gear, but you can't set it up anywhere. And that's really a problem in the mountains.
Yeah. Yeah. So keep that in mind. If you guys are ever looking at Seek tents, you can take a 12 to 6, 8 to 4, 6 to 3. It can be 4 really, but if you squeeze.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Right on. So let's talk a little bit about innovation. So you mentioned, I think, that originally It was Angie and Kevin were in the mountains, and they're like, it was born from necessity. So, obviously the company's grown and changed and evolved. How do you guys innovate? How do you keep up? What do you do to look at new products and that sort of stuff?
Yeah. So, we really look towards the lightweight through hiking community. And we draw a lot of inspiration from there. But again, we're like, okay, we can't just draw up something that looks exactly like another person's, slap our name on it and call it good. What can we do to innovate? And so that's where our zipperless line came out of. There's no zipper on the whole tent. It's done from paracord and tension locks, like you see on some of our tents on the stakeout points, and that's we try to draw our inspiration from what lightweight equipment can we make for the hunting crew who is not used to lightweight equipment. They're used to a 10-pound empty pack, big old frame pack or something like that. What can we do to make it better? Or they're used to canvas wall tents and being stuck next to the truck with every other out-of-stater, what can we do for them to lighten up their load, make it just as comfortable for them 2, 3, 4, 5, however many miles they want to go back. Let's make tents for them and give them some options there. So that's really what we draw our inspiration from: lightweight backpacking, mountaineering communities. And we really try to drive it home for the hunter. And then also, say, through hikers, we've made something even better for you because we took all the zippers out. They weigh 11 ounces per zipper in your tent. Save 11 ounces. There you go. So yeah, we try to talk to those folks just as much as the hunters sometimes as well.
Well, and really that's the inspiration in so many cases, right? And I can't tell you how many times myself and my hunting partner, when we go sheep hunting, we're not looking at other hunters. That's our echo chamber. We know that stuff. So we're looking across the aisle. What are the through hikers? What are the lightweight guys? The mountaineers? What kind of equipment are they running? Right. And the biggest thing I've found historically with this stuff is that for hunters is that with through hikers and that they're not used to going from a 50-pound pack to a 90-pound pack, right? And that's the big challenge. So we've always found that, as long durability is the big issue. I'm always keen on lightweight, but what I don't want is something that's going to break or something that you throw an extra 40 pounds on because you killed something, and now it's just
Yep.
you'd rather die than carry that
Worthless.
thing out. Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like we could use those little like backpacking sacks that are made out of Dyneema, but they're only like rated up to like 30 pounds or something, you know. So we could go super lightweight, but at what cost? Just like you're saying, you know, you throw not even a quarter, you throw a game bag of like back straps or something in there, and then it's like, okay, well, might as well leave it up here on the mountain, you know.
Well, and that's what I love about what you guys do, right? Is that you create this lightweight environment, but you're doing it functionally for hunters, right? And that's where, you know, a lot of this stuff outside our hunting world is great, lightweight, it's super, but you can't use it because it's just not functional for anything to do. Like, and quite often, you know, a lot of this lightweight stuff is like super, like it's very functional for July or August, but you know, October, November, it's a different ball game, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that's, you know, not all of our products are made for the archery hunter early September, but we do have products made for those guys. And that's like, we're starting to really dial in our line, really round it out. We've always had products for basically every season, but then we're going one step further and we're saying, okay, what can we make for the sheep hunter in, you know, middle to late August, you know, who need just a one-person tent that can fit on the side of a mountain. That's the big thing, is a lot of people were like, man, the footprints, they're too big, XYZ, enter Silex, enter Aeolus, now the Guardian in our zipperless line. And, you know, I've used the Silex on 2 sheep hunts now. And it's just like, you know, game changer in terms of what we were using or what we did have available. And, you know, we lightened it up a lot. A sheep hunter would probably really love to use our Silex just because of the lightweight capabilities of it. Definitely will save you some room when packing your bag for the Super Cub. That's for sure. Yep.
Awesome. Let's talk a little bit, but we're going to jump into some of your hunting stuff here in a second. But let's talk about consumptive versus non-consumptive consumers.
Yeah.
How much of that is it 50-50, or is it mostly the hunting community you guys service, or is it a good mix? Or
yeah, so it's like the better portion of 70% that you know, that are hunters, and then we've got people from all over the space. Through hikers, backpackers, you know, I'll separate them because there's some, you know, weekend warrior backpackers, and then you got the through hikers who are like quitting their jobs to go hike trails for 3 months out of the year or whatever. We got backcountry skiers. They've really started to take, you know, a liking to the hot tent systems for their backcountry trips. Winter campers. I mean, you'd be surprised at how many people are just like, I just want to go camping in the winter and not freeze my ass off, you know? So, you know, this is perfect because now I get to go and be in the woods in an awesome time of year when, in my opinion, I think the woods is the prettiest when it's covered in, you know, frosted trees and, you know, big blanket of snow on the ground. I think it's gorgeous. And it's unfortunate that some people just, you know, hold up inside the house during that season. So, you know, lots of winter campers and, yeah, man, now overlanders are really starting to take a hold of it. We had a review done in Overland Journal. They did a review and then it's like we started getting people from kind of like the overland community asking about us. And we were like, yeah, I mean, we don't see why we wouldn't say it's for you, you know, like, you know, from what you're saying you do, sounds perfect. Great. How can we help you? What information do you need from us to really make your decision? And go from there.
awesome. Okay, so let's talk products. So from a product perspective, you can only pick one Seek Outside product. That's all. You're going on a trip and you can pick anything. What product is that? What do you have to have?
Okay, I'm bringing the Cimarron, you know, and that's even before I know exactly what the trip is, but I know that, let's say someone gives me one of those Dyneema Sax as a backpack, and they're like, you have to use this. You know, the Cimarron's still light enough, but it gives me enough room to spread out. Maybe I have another person with me. Maybe I have, you know, another person who's carrying the stove, and we're in a hot tent situation. You know, I'm typically bringing the Cimarron. I love that thing. It flip-flops between the Cimarron, Red Cliff, and 8-person as like our most popular hot tent bundle. They're always fighting for that number one position. And if you look at it seasonally instead of on the year, then you'll never be able to tell which one's going to win, because, you know, in one season it's the 8-person, and the next season it's the Sim, next season it's the Red Cliff. And so, but in my opinion, I'm taking the Cimarron. I've had my Cimarron since 2017. That was the first tent that they gave me to take out. It was a seconds. This tent was a customer's that put a hole in it. We repaired it, but then we just sent him a new one anyways. So I've got a repaired tent from a customer that probably had it for at least one season before I did. So let's say 2016 or something like that. And I still use it. It's not our latest and greatest model. The tie backs are like, you have to tie it back with your hands instead of like now we got these easy to use toggles and stuff. But yeah, I still run that thing all the time. Take it hunting. No, of course, I'm using other products too now, but if someone was like, you only get one, it's that thing. It's that one, that specific one down there.
Right on. Yeah, it's pretty cool when you know, you have something, and you know, I find a lot of gear these days, like it's super it's good, it's really functional, it's lightweight, it's everything that I want to be, but I find durability is a challenge. Like, you know, something, I just find that the gear that you had, you know, a long time ago was heavy as hell and stuff, but it seemed to last. But I find a lot of modern gear, you go through it pretty quick. I go through stuff, and maybe I'm just harder on things than I used to be, I'm not sure, but
yeah, and we find that comes mostly through construction. You know, materials these days are better than we could have ever hoped for, right? We've definitely haven't moved backwards in materials. And we find what happens is companies try to cut corners on construction. And that's where they get in trouble. Now, we've done a lot of things to make sure that we're constructing our tents and our backpacks and our stoves in a way that meets that lightweight specification, right? It's got to be lightweight, because that's what we need to be to allow our consumers, our customers to do what they want to do to achieve their goals in the backcountry. That's literally in our mission statement. So, you know, it's got to be lightweight, but it's also got to be durable. We do say, you know, we make products, you know, that last a lifetime, because they need to be. I don't want to buy a new Red Cliff every year. I don't want to buy a new backpack every year. And quite frankly, you shouldn't have to as a consumer. You should buy this thing. You should use the crap out of it, beat it up. You know, if a tree branch falls on your tent and you get a hole in it, we should be able to repair it. And for the most part, we can. But like I said, sometimes we just end up sending them a new one just so they have something shiny, brand new and shiny to hold on to. But, you know, we should be able to repair it. And if we can't, we're going to replace it, you know, for those like manufacturer things. Because if it's our fault, you know, we should hold up on our end of the deal and get you a product that's gonna do the job for you. So, yeah, I think it's all in the construction nowadays. Materials are going gangbusters. We got, you know, Challenge Sailcloth and Ripstop by the Roll offering Joe Schmoes, people who aren't companies, that they can go and buy material and make something up themselves. But, you know, again, it's all in the construction in our opinion, and we try to do our best to make sure our construction is dialed.
Awesome, man. Okay, let's transition. Let's talk a little bit of hunting. You mentioned 2 sheep hunts, so we talk sheep, man. Let's go. Let's do it.
Yeah, so my first one was the August after all the shutdowns and stuff. So it was August 2020. I was with just a private hunter who wanted it photographed and shot, videoed. When I say shot, in my head, that's video, but some people don't draw the correlation. So, he wanted it videoed and he wanted it photographed. And I worked with the outfitter, Dillinger River Outfitters out of Alaska, Alaskan range, Dall sheep hunts. At the mouth of the, Dillinger River, they offer caribou hunts and moose hunts. And I'll give them a little shameless plug because they were super awesome, worked with me and the hunter to get me out there and collaborate on it. So went on that hunt. Unfortunately, the weather did not play out the way anyone would have wanted it to. Lots of days in the tent, rainy, foggy. We actually had a shot at 2 legal rams. Both times we couldn't get enough time to get on them with the fog rolling in and out like it was. Just, it was everything you didn't want out of a sheep hunt, but everything you did, because there was adversity. There was a little bit of downtime to read your book or whatever. Everyone's taking books with them and kind of expecting that to be their experience. I think it would be kind of sacrilege for a sheep hunter to go up there on, the day opens up where they can hunt, the next day after they fly. Which, correct me if I'm wrong, in Canada, do you guys have to wait? You guys have to wait a day after you fly, right? Or can you guys hunt same day?
It's 6 hours.
6 hours. Okay.
6 hours after, unless it's a regular scheduled aircraft. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
So if you fly in the backcountry, if you landed at 10 in the morning, you could hunt that evening.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So in the States, you got to wait a full 12 hours or 24 hours or something like that. One sleep. You got to wait one sleep. I feel like it'd be kind of sacrilege for a sheep hunter just to wake up on the first day of their hunt and shoot a legal ram or a Boone and Crockett ram, whatever. There needs to be a little bit of work that's involved. I feel like every sheep hunter wants to have that experience. So it was fun, regardless of the weather and regardless of not killing a ram. But he's already got one on the books again because he's like, this is a dream. He had a sheep engraved on his rifle, because it was, handed down to him and it had killed, some really awesome critters with it. And he was using a 7mm Woodstock, not the latest, greatest. He was like, I'm not shooting out past, I think it was 400 or something like that, because he just, he's like, this rifle is not built for that. And I don't want to do that. So, actually on one ram that we got on, he was limited by his distance, and, we tried to make it work. But like I said, with fog rolling in and out, it was hard. And he put in a lot of work. And so it was unfortunate he didn't get anything, but man, when we left, he was all smiles. And at the hotel before we, headed back to the lower 48, it was as if he had killed one, because he at least went up there and gave it the old college try. But yeah, then, the second one was this year. And just a friend of mine, not even actually a friend of mine, an acquaintance of mine through a mutual friend, got a sheep tag and just invited us, because he was like, I use the crap out of Seek Outside gear. Do you just want to come and help me? And I was like, would you like some photos of your trip? And he was like, absolutely. And I was like, great. I will take some photos of you and you can print them off and put them up in your house for absolutely nothing if I get to go with you, because I just want to be a part of it. So went with him, and man, we sat on rams for 3 days before the season opened, found him, hiked 12 miles back into the backcountry and here in Colorado. It was a bighorn, Rocky Mountain bighorn hunt. He drew it with 1 point, which,
wow, awesome.
It, is amazing, is unheard of. It is crazy. He was like, I can't believe I drew it, actually. And it was awesome. I mean, it was like, we made the game plan that night, woke up at 3:00 in the morning, walked with red lights on our heads for, an hour and a half maybe, to get into the zone. And then we just sat there and waited for the sun to come up and started making moves, found him, same place we put him to bed. And, he got on him, and it was a really fun stock because they were all fighting with each other, all the, play fighting with each other and knocking heads. But then, one would push, the lead, and then he would run, and then they would all follow him. So that we had to play this cat and mouse game, and we were getting closer, and then they would go run off because they were just messing around. But we finally got within range of the Mac Daddy ram in the bunch, and there was 13 rams hanging out together,
Wow.
band of 13 or something like that. And he made it one shot, boom, done. We celebrated, and then there was 2 sheep tags for this unit. Another sheep hunter came up underneath us, shot another ram, and when we heard the guide tell the dude, "You got your ram," I mean, we were hooping and hollering from our ram down to him. Yeah, you did it, because he looked kind of older, maybe it was his one and only shot at a ram or something. And when we heard the guide yell, "You got your ram," it was like we were just as stoked for him as we were for our own. And hey, you want to play off of our good fortune, go right ahead, man. I think at that point you can't even be mad, because they got to hike 12 miles just as much as we did. And, maybe they saw us and gave us the first trigger pull. And so if that was the case, kudos to them for being super cool about it. But, man, it was just fun. I mean, Colorado backcountry, we were at 12,400 feet or something as where the ram lays. And, it was just beautiful. He got some great photos of him and his ram and the scenery, and I got to be a part of it. And I got to kind of share that. I got to give him a little gift back with my skill of photography or whatever skill I do have. Yeah, it was just, man, it was fun. And every chance I get to be on a sheep trip, I'm going to jump at it, and I'm going to beg my wife, "Please, can you watch the kid? Because I need to go on a sheep hunt." I'm gonna pull out all the stops and bring home flowers, chocolates, jewelry. I'm gonna do whatever I can to get on another sheep hunt, and as many more as I can until I leave this earth. So, yeah, man, it's every single time it's fun.
Awesome. So if you think back now, you've had that experience, you've been on a successful, and that's the thing. That's one thing about sheep hunting that I find is that, not having that success and then getting success is wow, that you truly feel like you earn it. Because quite often, you hunt deer, you hunt whatever, you're probably going to come home with some meat if you really want to. But with sheep hunting, there's, and don't get me wrong, it's the same for hunting's hunting. I get it, but does that stand out for you, or is there a best hunt?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it does stand out for me because there is no guarantee. Even with 13 rams, we were like, man, because we're limited just like everywhere else on the size of ram we can kill. We're like, man, it's got to be these 3, and everything else is too close to call. But these 3, we know, we watched them. Hell, it wasn't just me and the hunter. It was me, the hunter, and 3 other guys. Because he was just like, I want all my friends to be a part of this, and I thought that was super cool of him. And so he had a friend come out from Washington. He flew to Colorado from Washington just to do this hunt with him, because they were all-time hunting buddies. And he was like, "Absolutely, I'll be there for your sheep hunt." Which is just goes to tell you, again, the hunting industry, the hunting world is just so awesome. You make friends for life over these activities. And yeah, but going back to your question, or I guess your findings there's just no guarantee. We did not know that they would be in the same place, but we guessed accurately that one time. But and then we took advantage of the opportunities we got. It's unfortunate because I never got to see him fight once. I heard cracking skulls. I, was hearing my buddy, he brought the binos up behind me. He said, they're fighting. We got to move. We got to, take the opportunity while their heads are down, while they're doing other things. So I never got to see them fight. And I was like, man, kind of bummed out, but we took advantage of the opportunities we had on the hunt to make it successful and capitalized and worked really hard and had a lot of fun doing it. But yeah, it's never guaranteed for sheep hunting because of just where they live, the kind of critter they are. It's hard hunting. That's for sure.
Well, you say to a lot of people, oh, there was 13 rams. It's great. It's like, yeah, but that's 13 rams that can see you instead of, sometimes
sets of eyeballs.
Yeah. It's
and that was the issue. Tough. We were like, hey, this one's looking down at us. And that's the guy with it was me with the camera, the hunter in front of me, and the guy with the binos, just keeping track of everything. And it was like, oh, hey, they're looking down, or this one's looking down, this one's looking back. Hey, stop, they're looking our way. Oh, okay, they're going back to fighting, and yeah, it's never just as, oh, great, we got 6 bulls to choose from because there's 6 bulls fighting over 30 cows. That's awesome. But now you've got 6 bulls and 30 cows to try to keep track of, making elk hunting correlation there. So it's like it's a good and bad thing, yin and yang.
Yeah. For sure. Well, it sounds like you got the sheep fever, so we got to get you to Sheep Week, and we got to get you to Less Than One Club, and then you can win one of those sheep tags and go hunting.
Yeah, man. So it'll be my first year. I attended virtually during the virtual Sheep Week during COVID. So I was there virtually, but this will be my first year in attendance, and we'll have a booth there for Seek Outside. Actually, I just bought our plane tickets today.
Nice.
So, we'll be there. We'll have stuff to look at, tents, backpacks, all the good stuff. And yeah, hopefully can get a sheep hunt under my belt where I'm the hunter. Going to be putting in for Colorado like I always do. I've got some points built up. I got more points than my buddy did when he drew. But hopefully I can be as lucky as him. But yeah, gonna keep trying because I have the sheep fever bad. It's really bad at this point, especially after that successful hunt this year. Man, the bug bit me bad. Yeah.
And then once you get the tag, it's even worse probably too, right? So that's awesome.
Oh man, if I get a tag in my pocket, I'll probably be worthless for a whole year, at least a whole summer. I'll just be thinking about it nonstop. I'll be spending my time on the computer researching, spending my time in the mountains, scouting if I'm doing it here locally, which is a cool thing about where I live too. It's like local hunting, which I know for you guys it is, but not everyone gets to really experience having sheep in their backyard. And that's unfortunate because it's super cool. In fact, one time I was duck hunting in just like a little pond. But it's got a creek running off the mountain right next to it, so it was November or so. And all of a sudden, me and my dad start hearing these just like bangs. And we're like, I don't think it's rifle season, I think that we're in a dead week or something like that at the time. So we're looking around, and it's echoing, in this canyon that we're kind of like tucked in. Small canyon, but canyon. And we look up, and there's Rocky Mountain bighorns up there just hammering away. Ewes,
wow,
rams, 2 big, very nice mature rams, and we were duck hunting of all things. Like, it was just so random. And we ran to the truck, got binos, and we didn't duck hunt for the rest of the day. We just sat there and watched them as long as they sat there and fought. So yeah, it's just it's a shame that not everyone gets to experience them in their backyard. But if you do get to experience them, I feel like you just can't help but drop everything and watch and look.
Yeah, awesome, man, for sure. Do you guys have your booth number at Sheep Week? You probably don't have it handy, do you? Not like I'm putting you on the spot. It's not like we're doing a podcast. Right?
Right. Yeah. I'm like, gosh, confirmation. Here we go. 1378.
1378. Okay. Well, I'll come and look you up at Sheep Week for sure, Lee. And anyone
stop by and
we'll talk. Talk some more gear. Check out the new stuff that you got there. Throw on some packs. It'll be fun. So.
Yeah. I'm hoping that we'll have some new stuff at that time. Not confirmed whether we're going to have new stuff in 2023 or not. But we're always working on projects. We never aren't working on projects here at Seek. So, you never know. Sheep Show might have a new tent sitting in the booth. Might not. We don't know.
Right on. Good reason to come and see you guys. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome.
Yeah, we'll keep everyone in suspense.
Right on. Well, I can't thank you enough for making time for us today and just touching base on what you guys got going on over there. Just thank you for all you do for conservation and supporting the things that we all love, and for your innovation, man. It's really cool. I love the like the lightweight stuff, the lightweight stuff that works. I don't like the lightweight stuff that doesn't work, and right, you guys have that reputation, so of being the ones that do work. So.
Yeah, I really appreciate the kind words, and I got to give a shout out to the team when I get praise like that, because it just so happens that I get to be sometimes the face and the voice, but there's definitely a lot of people behind the scenes making the thing go, designing the products. Like I get something and I am like a Neanderthal and I try to break it, and then they're like, oh, okay, so we got to do this here. Different cut here, XYZ, different buckle, because Lee sucks and he just throws things around. But I got to give a shout out to the team, and everyone involved. Even, like I said, those seasonal people in college who are coming in and seam sealing for like 4 hours a day, just picking up a shift when we got work for them. Hats off to them too, because they're also showing up to those conservation projects and doing the thing. So it's not just me, and I just get to be the guy who gets on the podcast, and I'm really thankful for it. But yeah, thank you for all the kind words.
Awesome, man. We appreciate it, and enjoy the rest of your fall.
Yeah, you guys as well. Have a good one.